Thank you. Welcome, everyone, to the Ashland Select Board meeting for January 3rd, 2024. We're live streaming with WCAC-TV tonight. So thank you. So I'm going to call the meeting to order and ask anyone here for citizens' participation.
Has everyone been let in yet to the meeting? Who's letting people in?
I see Joan here.
I see Joan. Is that it? No one else in the waiting room?
No, there's nobody in the waiting room.
Okay, thank you. I think she said no.
Okay. So I see no one either virtually or in person here for citizens' participation. So we'll move on to the first item on our public agenda, which is the introduction of Kirsten Quern, our clinician for the jail diversion program. And I think Michael wants to do a little introduction. So go ahead, Michael.
Sure.
And I know Chief Rossi just joined us here in the physical meeting.
Yeah, so, you know, obviously the jail diversion program's been an important component of our public safety strategy over many years. And over the last couple of years, we've had difficulty finding and retaining a JDP clinician. So I'm pleased to say that we do not have that issue anymore. We've contracted with Riverside, and we have Kirsten Quern here, who has accepted that job and has already started. And that being said, I'll turn it over to the chief, and Chief, you can elaborate a little more.
Thank you. This has always been a pet project of mine for a decade plus. Coming here to Ashland, we did not have a JDP clinician when I got here. Funding has never been an issue. This is all grant funded, so there's no direct cost to the town. But it is such a vital program for literally every aspect of our community, from children to the elderly and everyone in between. Kirsten could not have been a better fit for Ashland. She's a clocker. She has clocker children. Well, you are now.
Clocker by association.
You are now. You live here. So she just started last week. She's already integrated herself into the department. You've been on ride-alongs. She hit the ground running. I'm so happy and impressed with not only your resume and your experience, but the person that you are. So I will allow you to come and introduce yourself officially to the select board and the community, but we are delighted to have you on board.
Chief, before you leave, you just give us, for the layperson, an example of the way the jail diversion program might work, or someone like Kirsten might intervene, or what's a typical kind of...
So there's nothing typical in her job description. We just ordered her a bulletproof vest because she may be going on calls that could turn into something more than we expect. But on a typical day, she'll cull through the log and see what transpired the night before and what she could follow up with. There was a resident who was having issues of domestic violence that came up last week that she followed through with. There's a lot of people suffering from substance use disorder that Kirsten you went to a home and assisted with someone who is what we call and Joe, you'll understand, a magnet address, someone we go to continuously. The hope with Kirsten is that she will cut down on the amount of calls for service, because we'll get people to the appropriate aftercare or services that they need, so we don't keep being
called,
just society's janitor, just coming in, and cleaning up a mess. We're trying to solve the problem. So what Kirsten does, she's got the time, the bandwidth, the knowledge, the experience, the training to follow up with these people. So it's not going to be the same person who's intoxicated, 5 times a month that we get called. hopefully she'll get them to services that they need so that they're healthy, they're thriving. If they've got children, it's not gonna impact children.
Great.
It's a mixed bag.
Well.
We had, unfortunately, a horrible incident, about, that involved a high school student. Making that sort of notification to a family is something that a public safety official will carry with them forever. They don't have the same training that Kirsten has. She could have intervened at that point and assisted in that way.
Okay.
It's just an endless list of what she is capable and qualified to assist with. So
Great.
I hope every person in the community who needs any sort of assistance will reach out. And I'm sure they'll find Kirsten capable and willing to help.
Great. Well, thank you for that.
Is this an on-call position, or is there a set number of hour? I mean, I'm sure there's a set number of hours, but is it the same every day, or?
So the way that I crafted this position for our department was that, and this is obviously retention in this industry is
Difficult.
very difficult. Kirsten's a mom. She's got obligations outside of just the Ashland PD in Riverside. So we work together to craft what works for her, knowing that if something happened at 11 o'clock tonight and she had someone to care for her children and we needed her, we can call her and she's available.
Okay.
And she's close.
Yep.
But we made hours that they're different. They cover basically 2 of the shifts. The overnight shifts is going to be on an on-call basis, which
Okay.
is normal with any
Yeah.
JDP program. But the way that Kirsten and I worked out her schedule, she's available 5 days a week for at least part of 2 shifts.
Okay, great.
So is the split shift?
Not a direct, not what you would understand as a split
Yep.
shift, because it's not 7 to 3, 3
Okay.
to 11.
Yeah,
It's various parts of each day
Gotcha.
that fit.
okay,
And the understanding is that if we find a real need at a different time of the day, that we'll talk about it and change hours, but
she's got a flex schedule.
yeah, and a lot of what she does is not in the immediate, it's the aftermath.
Yeah, yeah.
She's got the advantage of having all of what Riverside offers and bringing that to us.
Nice.
So
That's a clinical.
Very nice.
Yeah, great.
I would like
Come
you
on
to
up.
introduce
Yeah.
yourself.
Hi,
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Kirsten.
Kirsten.
I think I know everyone though.
This is for us, but also for the community.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, yeah, I've been with Riverside for over 2 months at this point, just preparing for the role. And then, yeah, day 6 was today. I feel like it's a really good, not only use of my skill set, but also just a wonderful program in general. Jail diversion is a little bit of a misnomer in a way because it's really mobile crisis.
Yeah.
And the ability to go to where the issues are happening and respond either in the moment or, as the chief said, that follow-up piece of just making sure that we're checking in and getting people connected, because I know that the police officers don't have the time for that. And the police have been more than welcoming, so it's been a good start.
That's great.
It would seem to me you're sort of a social worker attached to the police department.
I
Is that fair?
That is exactly what I am. I'm a licensed social worker, yes, with an office in the police department. And I have, like the chief said, this consultation, the resources from Riverside, which is, it's actually a really awesome organization. I worked there like over 10 years ago, doing the mobile crisis. I was in the emergency room at that time. I think a lot of what we're trying to avoid is that emergency room whenever possible. And I think in the last decade, at least that I'm aware of, the Department of Mental Health, I think they've created more levels of care, more options for people. So it's not just inpatient, which can be a revolving door as well.
Now, this isn't replacing the juvenile diversion program, is it?
No.
Okay.
So, like Kirsten said, jail diversion
You could
is,
stay up there, Kirsten, if you,
it's a very.
unless you want to run. but-
It's not really accurate to what this role is intended for. So to divert from the emergency room is really more of what we see in our community, which, I mean, if you're having a heart attack and we're tied up with an ambulance doing something that could be diverted through the assessment that you're going to get at the ER in the field with a licensed social worker, I mean, that's life-saving for
Right.
people. It's also, cost savings for residents, because every time someone gets transported to the emergency room via ambulance and they can't pay for the care, I mean, ultimately it becomes a responsibility of other people. This is diverting from that. And as you know, Joe, particularly when someone is presenting with some sort of issue that would require going to an ER to get an evaluation, we can't make the assessment. We don't have the skills, we don't have the training. And in order to indemnify, for lack of a better word, we're going to send to the ER, which is going to tie up a bed in the ER, it's going to tie up an ambulance, it's going to tie up EMS crews, when Kirsten can make the same
On-site?
assessment on site. I mean, it's just a win-win for everyone.
Yep.
And the patient, ultimately, the person who's involved, probably 9 times out of 10 does not actually need to go to the emergency room. They need follow-up care that Kirsten can make sure that they get.
And this
So,
is where Riverside comes into play.
yep,
Yeah. So, Section 12, you'll be there making the assessment on scene
I could, yes.
instead of going to the ER.
Yes.
Okay.
and taking it off of
Right, taking
the
it off the
officers
grid.
who,
And the medical group as well.
if they can, but are they really trained to that level?
Right.
Most times not.
Thank you.
Cool.
And any other observations,
So I
questions?
have a
Yeah,
question.
sure.
So, on a typical call, first of all, welcome, like officially, like we all know you, like as part of our community, but we're excited that you're here in this capacity. So for a typical call, would an officer and Kirsten respond together, or how does that? Because I'm thinking, you were talking about like the bulletproof vest and safety, and that's always like probably top
So she will
concern.
never respond on her own.
Okay.
She's embedded with us, she's one of us. You even have a police jacket, I noticed.
Does it say social worker in big letters across?
Yeah,
Yeah, I should say
So-
clinician. I don't
so we'll get you one. We're piecing it together as we go along. But, so she'll ride along with officers just to go and check out. I mean, I read the log every day. I see you've gone to check on some of our frequent flyers to just see what we can do more for people. So she'll just ride along, sort of awaiting something to happen. Part of her day is spent in the office, which is directly across from mine. And she's doing follow-up, she's on the phone, she's only 6 days in, but follow-up type of stuff. She'll never respond on her own. She'll never go without one of us. Or, she may work directly with Courtney or
That
some
was
of
going
her
to be my
human
next question.
services,
Yep.
without a police officer there, in that capacity. But if she's responding as part of APD, she'll always have one of us with her.
Okay, and that was going to be my next question, was how closely are you going to be connected to Courtney and our human services team at the community center? Because I'm sure that the overlap is huge.
It really is.
Yeah.
I didn't realize until we met today. I met with Courtney, our lead social worker, and Joy, our case manager, and we just kind of were dividing up some follow-up work,
great.
because there is a lot of overlap between
Good.
people seeking out services and
Wonderful.
police responding to people. So I'm looking forward to that. It's nice to have a team.
That's great. And I know you also, if I remember correctly, you also have your law degree too, so.
I
you
have a law degree. It's I've been admitted to the bar, but I am inactive and not practicing. But it's definitely, wow, it came in handy this
Yeah, I was
past
gonna
week.
say, like I see it all kind of coming together.
It
and
is.
It sounds like it's a good fit for you, so.
I think, yes, and I really appreciate the flexibility, knowing that that's the hardest part. Trying to balance. We're looking for balance, and in this field, I mean, it's a tricky field. Like, people can get burnt out, but I think the difference, I don't think I would have applied for this job 2 years ago. I feel like our police department is, like, Chief Rossi is pretty incredible. So I feel very supported
Bless you.
in that regard. The building,
Good
You
time.
don't, you don't
no,
have to go
it's-
outside to use the restroom?
exactly. It's a nice working environment. As a clinician, we're used to like closets and basements, and I have a window. So it's
great.
a win-win.
Awesome.
Great.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Anything else from the,
Yeah, I would also, I mean, as you said, most of us here have known you as part of the community. To hear that you're coming in with the background, I didn't know about the law degree, so it's nice to hear all the experience that you have, and I think as a working mother, to know that you can have that flexibility. I think, you know, when you talk about work-life balance, it's important to have that. So I'm excited to hear more, and of course, my brain starts going, ooh, interview.
sure?
But
So
if
it-
you ever want to get in touch or you have someone
No?
on
Okay.
your mind,
I might call you tonight.
Yeah. Depends what happens. Thank you, Chris. Oh, that's good.
You just pass
Just
them
pass
down.
them around. So that's good. Great. Well, thank you.
Congratulations
Yeah.
and welcome aboard.
Welcome.
We look forward to hearing how it goes.
Just before you, so maybe talk, the grant, this is grant funded, and how
Yes.
long is it funded? And
So
what's-
every year we have to reapply with DMH, but it's 100% covered. There's no cost to the town. I mean, they cover computer, phone. I remember
Great.
Susan calling me, does she need a phone? Nope, Riverside has it.
So how's the
IT
funding, I
calling,
know
yeah.
it's sometime unknown, but what's the long-term funding look like? Is this likely to be?
I do not foresee, having almost 31 years in this profession, I do not foresee this ever being not funded. This is where policing,
Is
at least in
going,
Massachusetts, I think
Yeah, okay.
nationwide is going towards. I wouldn't be surprised if funding increased for more than one. I don't ever see it being
It's interesting.
rescinded.
Do many jurisdictions, are we unique in this? Is a lot of places doing this now in Massachusetts?
So Framingham and Chief Davis, our former chief, really started this program with Dr. Sarah Abbott in Framingham, probably 15, 16 years ago. Yeah, it was a long time ago. Yeah, long time ago.
Like 2003.
And it has taken off. We are not unique in that we have the program. I think we're really unique in that we have someone of Kirsten's training, education, background, experience. I mean, she's very modest, but, I mean, she worked in the juvenile courts in Boston. I mean, how that can translate to what her knowledge and experience becomes here is invaluable. She has got experience working in school systems in the area, Dover-Sherburne. I mean, she's got experience in every single one of the arms that we coordinate with. So, and I know, Michael, I said how excited I was for this hire, and Jen, I told
Great.
you as well. I think you'll see why, and she's 6 days in, but I think next year, if we have this conversation, you'll see why I was so excited to get her on board.
Great.
I have one last question.
Sure.
So what's the relationship with Riverside? So are they the employer for Kirsten, not the, okay.
Yep, she works for Riverside. She's embedded with us, so they're contracted with us, and we
Okay.
signed, an agreement. They supervise, they trained. She lives with us, she's one of us, but she's not actually a town of Ashland
Ashland employee.
employee,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Yep, okay.
Great. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Great. Well, thank you. So certainly,
Thank you.
sounds great. Yeah, thanks for
Congratulations.
coming in.
Yes,
All right, thank
thanks
you.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Now I'm a resident.
There you
There you
go.
go. At least took our thing off. Okay, very good.
Yeah, it doesn't always work that way.
Yeah. All right, thank you. So our next item on the agenda is 7:30 is a public hearing, so, yes,
you.
thank you very much.
And congratulations, chief.
Yeah.
Congratulations, chief.
All right, good. I see that Cindy is here a bit early. Shall we take her and deal with that in our 10 minutes? Can we do with that?
We have 6 minutes,
Oh,
but I think we can.
I'm sorry, I keep looking at that clock.
What- Yeah. We have
Well,
6 minutes, I think we can.
Should we go ahead and
Yes,
try that?
let's do it.
Okay. So Cindy, why don't you come up? This agenda item is mail, vote by mail, and other various issues having to do with the election season coming up. And I believe a recommendation from Cindy, the town clerk, that we do not do the vote by mail for the municipal election. So I hope people got a chance to look at that. And Cindy, if you wanted to make a short, maybe presentation, or if Michael, you wanted to start the ball rolling on this.
No, I mean, I think the memo pretty much speaks for itself, right?
Yeah, I mean, just really brief is, it's the first year with vote by mail that it will fall before the municipal, when they mail the postcards out. So voters have the option to choose all elections for the year, and I would like to see us opt out of the local, which we have the option to as long as the board.
And how clear does that, I mean, first of all, I think it's ridiculous that we send out those cards, but that's my personal opinion.
Well, we don't, the state does.
Oh, no, I mean,
Yeah.
I know that, but so would there be something on their card that lets them know that they're not eligible
So
to
the
get
initial
it
guidance
for-
I got from the state said they were going to say to check with your municipality.
Okay,
Then they sent us out the sample of the card. It does not say that. But I
Okay.
have been speaking to the attorney for the Elections Division,
Mm-hmm.
and she recommends that when we mail out the ballots in March, just to put a notice in there to all the
resident,
voters that
Okay,
have requested
that get
one, that they
that.
will not be getting one in May.
that if they
and
want to
how
vote
they
in
have
the
other
lo-
options,
if we
yes.
take this vote, that if they want to vote in the local election, they'll have to apply for an absentee ballot.
absentee or-
Or apply, or come in person.
Exactly.
Okay.
So just to kind of give a little bit more context to anybody that might be watching.
Sure.
The memo that you sent us that's in our packets, because there's going to be a national election, there's, multiple national
Yeah,
elections.
right.
But it's a big election year.
Yes.
And because the state is sending out these postcards for mail-in voting, and it's a state decision to do that.
Yeah.
What potentially could happen is you had put in here that we anticipate approximately 3,500 voters requesting the mail-in
Yeah, that's very
mail-in voting.
conservative too, I think.
And
Yeah, I
that
would
there's
say
a
so.
cost associated with that for each election. That, if we're able to basically, 3,500 voters in Ashland would receive a municipal postcard or a municipal ballot.
Right.
And may or may not, that
Yeah.
may or may not send it in, but there's still a cost and a time associated with
Yeah,
that.
it's about 90 cents a ballot for postage, and it's 25 cents to print each ballot. So just there alone, plus the time
Right.
each.
And I'm curious, the state, we talk sometimes about these unfunded mandates from the state. And I would assume this is another one of those unfunded mandates, so
We got 3
we may
minutes.
have, 3,500 vote by mail ballots going out for each election. And is there any reimbursement that comes from the state? Does the state
Yes.
do anything?
So, within the next couple of months, for each election, we fill out like what we anticipate, for postage, detail officers at the election, things like that. It's not a lot. I think last year I got back, I'm sorry, in 2022, it's now 2 years, about $5,000.
Okay, all right.
But the presidential alone, I mean, we'll probably mail out 6,000 ballots for the November election.
Okay.
So,
I'm fully in support of us opting out of for
Yeah,
municipal
I am too.
election.
Other questions or thoughts about this?
I
Go
just
ahead.
want to talk a little bit about absentee voting and a little bit about how that works. And do you anticipate, because of the fact that now we've had the mail-in votes, that now we might see an increase in people taking advantage of absentee voting?
Yeah, but like in the memo I wrote, in the last two locals, we had 95 and I think 110 respectively for May and July. You know, that's a lot less than 3,500. So even if we had, 100 people apply absentee, that's completely doable. You know.
All right, so I think just sort of
No,
quick, yeah,
7:30,
sure.
so.
So the quick summary for folks, we've got, for those watching, so in terms of the election season ahead, we've got the state primary in March, presidential primary in March, then our municipal election in May, then September, the presidential primary in November, the final election. So it's a big election. We're going to do mail-in for 3 out of the 4 elections, but your proposal is for the municipal that we don't do it and have we're likely to have early voting. Is that correct?
Yeah,
in
I'd like to do
municipal?
in-person early voting, but
Yeah.
we won't have to vote on that until 45 days prior.
Okay,
to
so that's a
municipal.
decision to be made, but it's
Yeah,
quite possible we'll
right.
have that, and you'll have absentee. So your proposal, do I have a motion
Yeah,
here
I
then?
move that we approve the opt-out of vote by mail for the May 21st, 2024 town election and any special local elections that may be called in 2024.
Good point.
And I'll second that.
All right, so the motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, so the motion carries.
Great.
So
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank
you all, and
you.
thank you, Cindy, for coming to see us. Okay. Great.
Okay,
All right, so,
yes, Happy New Year. Now we gotta open the hearing.
yeah. So, there's my little, it being 7:30, I'm going to read this legal notice about a public hearing considering an all-alcohol liquor license for Clock Tower Pickleball. So, notice is hereby given that the Select Board will conduct a hearing regarding the application for an all-alcohol liquor license. The applicant is Clock Tower Pickleball LLC, located at 200 Homer Avenue, Ashland. A public hearing will be held on the matter on Wednesday, January 3rd, 2024, at 7:30 p.m. Persons wishing to be heard in this matter are invited to attend the public hearing in person or by logging into the Zoom meeting. Interested parties who are unable to attend the hearing may submit written comments to the Select Board's office, Town Hall, 101 Main Street, Ashland, Mass. 01721, or by emailing Susan Roby at sroby@ashlandmass.com. Signed, Robert Scher, Chair, Select Board. So, motion to open the hearing.
So moved.
I'll second.
All those in favor of opening this hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, so hearing is open. So do we have anyone here? I think Steve Brzezinski is up there. Steve, he just activated his cell. So, Steve, I think you can talk if you want. So, do you have a presentation to make us on this license? There he is. Hey, Steve.
How's everyone doing?
Good.
Good.
Certainly missed the town of Ashland, but I'm happy I'm back now and again, a little bit more than I used to be. So
Great. How's your neighbor Mitchell? Is he behaving himself?
as far as I gather, I think he's dealing with all the grandkids now. I'm
Okay.
thinking. But so yeah, just a quick overview of what we're doing. The second floor at 200 Homer Ave on the Route 135 side has been vacant for many years now. As you know, we used to own the building and sold it a little bit ago. We still retain the management of it, and as pickleball continues to get more and more, exposure, more people playing it, everyone wants to be inside and play. I looked at it, and the actual specs of how the beams and everything works perfectly good. So we're able to put in 4 pickleball courts. Those are going to be in a separate area than where the bar and the restaurant will be. There'll be a garage door that will go into the bar. It'll have an opening, and then it'll be able to be locked when no one's there. There'll be an opening through the kitchen as well to get back into the bar as well, but that'll be locked. Our intent is to have a restaurant, which will be a gastro pub, which is high-end comfort food. I'm learning. Not really a foodie, but we're excited about that. We're working on the menu now. The bar, we plan on having it be, really a social bar after people play pickleball or come watch people play pickleball, which we're very excited about. The pickleball portion is probably going to be open before the end of January or early February. And we're in the designs phase of designing the kitchen and the bar. Excuse me?
No, that was,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Oh, no problem. So we're in the design phase of the bar and the restaurant, but we have that pretty well understood, how we're gonna create that and what we're gonna do. The bar is not gonna be open from 10 to 10. The pickleball will be open from 10 to 10, and the hours will be different for when the bar and the restaurant are open, just based on when people will come, when there'll be actual crowds there or more people there. It'll be based on that, but our plan is never to be open after 10 and never to have the bar open, obviously, before 10. I don't know what the rules are, but we would obviously conform to any of the rules. Marissa Kenny is the bar manager and general manager for Clock Tower Pickleball. She has been in the past the bar manager and head of the front manager for John Stones in Ashland. So she's very familiar with all the Ashland people, and she is doing a great job for us, and we're looking forward to having her run it. And the ownership structure, just quickly, is there's a lot of Ashland people that are part of this ownership structure. I would have the full say as the manager of BMD Realty, which is the name of one of my companies that will be the actual owner of it, but the investors are mostly from the Metro West area. So everyone's very excited to get this going. We look forward to having great pickleball and having everyone play. So
Great.
I don't know if that was what you wanted, but that's
No,
what you
that's,
get right
that's
now.
good. Well, just before we get into details, Susan, is the application complete? Any issues with the application or? that
The
we-
application is complete.
Great, all
No
right,
problem.
thank you.
Did I was looking in our packet, Susan, we usually have like a cover page, I thought, for liquor licenses about like with the times and the days of the
nothing
week, and we didn't receive
Oh.
anything in our packet, so I'm
Yeah,
not
that's
sure
I
what
was asking.
the,
I was gonna ask that. What
Yeah.
are the hours for the bar restaurant area?
yep,
So the hours for the bar restaurant, right now it's probably going to be, or is going to be, mostly in the afternoons from 2 till 10 for the bar. And our current plan is not to be open on Mondays, just to have pickleball.
so Tuesday through Sunday, 2 to 10 is what you're looking for from a liquor license approval from us?
I think if I had to amend that, I would say we're probably going to be definitely on the, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, open at 11 o'clock if possible for the bar.
Open until 11. Is that
Open
what-
until.
No, open at 11.
At 11.
Oh,
So we have
Okay,
lunch.
so-
earlier.
So 2 to 10 Tuesday and Wednesday, and then 11 to 10 Thursday through Sunday.
Yep.
And Susan, how many, if we use an all alcohol,
Oh.
where does that leave us at?
5, she told me to
5
tell
left.
everybody.
5 left.
5 left, yes. We have 6 currently, and there'll be 5 left.
Okay. Good.
Can I ask a question about the hours?
Sure.
So me stating those hours, is that changeable, or should I try to change it now if it's going to change? Because, as this thing continues to unfold and the amount of people that we have that may come or may not come is unknown to us because it hasn't opened yet. And if we get a bunch of people that want to have the bar and restaurant open on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, is that changeable, or is that something I should do?
Well,
now?
it is changeable, but I think, Steve, you should maybe ask for what you want now,
Right,
right?
if you think you're gonna want longer hours on other days, it's easier for us to say, okay, these are your full hours, than if you decide
Yeah.
not to do it as much. If you say, okay,
Okay.
I'm actually just gonna do 2 to 10. If you
Got
think
it.
11 to 10 Tuesday through Sunday might be where you'll get to, but if
Yeah,
you
I would-
decide not to do
if-
that, it would certainly be to your advantage to ask us for that now.
I would go then 11 to 10 Actually, every day, because we don't know what's going to happen on Monday. Because,
Okay.
but right now, our plan is to be closed on Monday and just have members there.
Okay. 11 to 10, 7 days a week.
To 10 PM.
Correct.
Sunday
Sorry
through
about that.
All right.
Saturday, or however.
And is there anyone else here to
Sunday
speak
through
in,
Saturday.
in favor of the license? Is that, anyone else
No,
here?
just me.
Just you, Steve. How about anyone who wants to have questions about the license in the general public, or has any other questions about this?
Or
Is there
speak
anybody
in
else?
support or against this?
Speaking in support or against? Anyone else? No one else is physically here. Anyone else online there? Raise your hand, or I can't read everybody up there, but.
Susan, have we gotten any emails or anything regarding this?
No, you have not.
Okay. Does the board have any other questions, or before we close the public hearing and proceed to a vote, or?
I just have a pickleball question.
I'm not sure that qualifies.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Go ahead.
So I know that I've heard, and I've never played pickleball, so I'm really excited to come check out the pickleball. But I've heard that pickleball can get kind of loud. And I was curious about, because you're going to be on the second floor with, businesses below you. I was curious if there was soundproofing. I'm just, I'm more, like I said, more on the curious side, so.
So, the telecom building, as you may know, has has the thickest floors because of the live loads they needed when they were making what they were making. So the cement between the first and the second floor is about 8 inches thick at this point. And as well as what's underneath it is just a storage. It's Worth Imports. And they just store,
Could be my answer.
tchotchkes, just little stuff that they sell to different stores. So they're not active there. If you look on the outside into the hallway, there's a storage for Mass Medical next to us, which is just a storage of medical supplies. And then you have a machine shop Tapler, which is next to us, and that they're just making machine parts. We will have soundproofing on. The fact that it's on the second floor is beneficial because the sound will go through the roof, but we'll also have soundproofing up there. So yeah, we're not anticipating issues with our neighbors. And if we did, we would mediate, what needed to happen to make sure it didn't bother them. As still the manager of the building.
Sounds good.
So,
Go ahead.
so 200 Homer, where's the entrance to that?
Thank you. That was my question.
So the entrance to that is, well, there's an entrance on 135 and you can walk up the stairs that way. That is not the ideal entrance because you walk kind of into courts. So the entrance is going to be where you walk into Dr. Green's, if you've ever been there,
Round back.
which is
Oh,
on the
okay.
back side towards the parking lot.
Riverside.
You'll go up the hall, you'll go up the stairs, and there'll be a brand new hallway that we just created that goes directly into our space.
Wonderful.
Great.
Great.
All right.
the
Any
name
other
of-
questions? I think we're ready to, a motion to close the hearing?
Motion to close the hearing.
I'll second.
All those in favor of closing the hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. Hearing is closed. All right, deliberations, any other discussion, motion?
I think it's a great use of this space, and as Steve said, pickleball has become one of the most popular sports for everybody, so to have this coming to Ashland and bringing people to Ashland is a very positive thing for
Yeah.
us.
And is there a select board discount night? Is that
We've already worked that into the
the
thing.
schedule?
The
Okay.
pricing.
Party
Very
will be
good.
there.
Oh, actually, that is a question. Will it be a membership, or will you be able to just come in and play once in a while?
So what we have is, there's two forms. One is, there will be a membership, and that will be, people will be able to play, come in when there's no one there through a fob system and sign in. We'll have an enormous amount of camera situations there to make sure everything's done. And they'll be able to play and get charged. I believe it's going to be $25 an hour, and you own the court for the hour. So from 5 to 10 o'clock, if you're a member, you can pre-sign up, pay your fee, come on in and play, and you bring as many guests as you want, and it's just $25. And then after that, from 10 till 10, it's open play, meaning anyone can come play. The benefit of the members is they get to sign up earlier than the other people, as well as they get a reduced price for the hour.
Cool. Very nice.
I think we
And
need to
there's
have
other membership benefits.
I
but-
think we need a
Retreat.
retreat, yeah.
Retreat,
All right.
pickleball retreat.
All right, so where,
Okay.
so
No
did we have a motion?
I move that we approve the all alcohol liquor license for Clock Tower Pickleball with the hours of Sunday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m.
I'll second that.
All those, motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor of granting this license, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Congratulations, you have a license.
Thank you guys very much.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank
Steve.
you. Yeah, it's
luck.
good seeing you
Happy
again.
New Year to you and
Everything.
MB.
Yeah.
Talk to you,
have
thank you, yes, for sure.
Nice to have
Bye.
you back doing some things in town, Steve.
We look forward to
Absolutely.
it.
Take
Thank
care.
you, guys.
Thanks, Steve.
Have a good one.
All right, so that's good. So our next item on the agenda is discuss the Mass Trails Grant Program and Ashland Award to support the creation upkeep of municipal-owned trails. So this was a notice that we received, or Michael received, from a press conference from the state administration. And so I don't know, Michael, and we've all received several pages on it. And Michael, I don't know if you had anything to add to it. This was a general statewide press release that we were named in, but I believe, other than that, we don't have any specific information, and no one here applied for this grant, but it's funding that seems to be available, and
Yeah, it's, as you mentioned, Rob, we did get a press release from DCR, Department of Conservation and Recreation, announcing $24 million for trail projects across Massachusetts. And specifically, as it relates to Ashland, they had $6 million to support the creation and upkeep of municipally owned trails in a number of communities, Ashland being one of them. As you mentioned, though, we didn't apply for a Mass Trails grant, so we're left a little bit scratching our heads what this is in regards to. I had reached out to DCR a couple of times. I actually heard back from them today. Basically, I asked them again for some more information, and I got an email saying, "What's the best number to call you?" So, so we've been playing phone tag today.
Okay.
So I don't have an update on that, but I'm really interested to hear what he has to say.
Yeah.
So based on the press release and the detail, it sounds like we can use this for anything we need to create and update our trail. I mean, it's that, it seems
sounds like it's
that
pretty general,
straightforward.
yes, yeah.
If it's that broad, yes. Usually, what they have is they have supplementary information that is like a matrix that
Right.
shows each of the communities and what it's specifically
Yeah.
for. We've received nothing, and there's nothing on the website about that.
But
And do we know what the number is for us?
I don't think there's a specific number. I think there's this pool.
Yeah.
That's my impression from reading this. And the pool,
And who gets
it-
it first?
well, that's a good question.
Yeah, it's 15 communities or $6 million for 15 communities.
Or
Again-
9 million. There's another place where they talk about the difference, so it is a little confusing. I'm trying to find that section. I read it, and it said that 15 would go to DCR and the other 24 to mine. That leaves 9 million. So
Yeah, there
it's
was
like,
3 million will be
Anyway.
used for the upkeep of
oh, maybe
DCR
that's,
trails.
okay, so that's the difference, okay. So it is 6,
but
yeah.
because we're looking to partner with DCR for their section of our trail through the state park, ideally, we could then use their portion and our portion separately,
That's a
right?
good
We would love that,
Yeah.
leverage
Yeah.
their funds as well.
Yeah, yeah. So they probably, hopefully they, yeah.
So,
okay.
as you talk to them, and maybe you, I'm sure you already have some questions I would have is, what is the timing of this? And do they have people that we can work with for the engineering and the actual design and working with our Conservation Commission in regards to getting this permitted and things like that? I mean, those are the questions.
Yeah, I'm really, first, I'm hoping it's not a mistake. And,
Right.
and
Well, it
it's-
says
it's not
environmental
Ashford.
justice
And
communities,
that's
and the
us,
only thing
yeah.
I can think is we are one because of
Yeah,
the whole
true.
Nyanza issue.
Well, there's other issues too. We have some demographics that qualify
Yeah,
us.
for-
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, the demographics are really kind of the key to that. But yes, I will ask those questions.
Okay.
And hopefully get some more concrete information, but
It's all
this is good news
yeah.
out of the blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just- And one thing I want to add, that right now Joel Arbeitman is putting together a Mass Trails grant, working with Michael and hopefully Jen, which I'm not totally, but it's the same department, so I'm not sure if that's part of this, but he's in kind of a separate process. He was contacted by them, or made that connection, is actually applying. It's due February 1st. I don't know that it's the same pool of money or it's a whole different pool,
Right.
but he's applying for that for a particular purpose to acquire some land for easement, so that's good news. They actually used when they're discussing it with him, they used the term environmental justice community, that we were well qualified, so good news, so, okay.
Cool.
All right,
Very
thank you.
nice. Thank you. Look forward to hearing more.
All right, lost the agenda. Okay, we did the vote by mail.
Yeah.
So the next item is potential dates for a joint meeting with the school committee to fill the vacancy on the school committee. So it says here appointment due date of 2/29, but I believe we've determined that it is really required by February 5th. That's my latest understanding, under the
Same.
charter. So it's 45 days from the date of resignation, we're supposed to make an appointment. So I'm using that February 5th as the date around which we're planning. And right now, Lori, in the string of emails about 2 or 3 weeks ago, between Lori, myself, Michael, and Cindy, okay.
No, Sorry.
We just kind of laid out the parameters to have the application for the school committee vacancy was posted on the town website, I think, more than a week ago, I believe.
Yes.
It's been a while, it's been up there for a little while. And so right now, the due date for applications is still January 18th, which gives us a little time to make the appointment by February 5th. And then based on all those kind of demographics, Lori suggested that we attend the school committee meeting of, what's the date? Is it the 24th, January 24th? So that's what I asked you folks to kind of look at, if that would be workable. I think that's pretty much our option, given the kind of parameters here, is that I may actually not be available. I'll be out of town, but, I may come in.
I'm not out of town, but I don't know that I'll be available.
Oh, okay. At 7? What about other people? What are people thinking? So I'm trying to think, what about other dates that week, Yolanda? Is anything, would it be different, or, should we try to, I'm just trying
Yeah,
to think.
nothing else that week would work for me.
Nothing now?
No.
So do we have any
unfortunately.
other options if we're trying to,
We could do it if we do something on the 31st. No one has a meeting, but. I don't think it would take very long.
no, it should, well, depending.
Depends
if-
on the number of
Yeah,
applications.
and we like to interview people and
Oh,
discuss things
definitely.
with them, so it could take a while. So what's the date we're looking at here?
31st. Yep. When are we having our forum?
28th,
29th.
29th. Gosh, I do that every time.
The
Monday, the
Valentine.
29th is the Valentine.
Oh, I see.
Forum.
So Wednesday, the 31st. The only, I'm trying to think, what did Lori say about her availability? Do you remember?
No, I can find out.
There was she said something about she wouldn't be available after that, but could come in. But she did say she could come in via video, but she'd prefer to be
Right.
in person. So she suggested the 24th. So,
I think Lori's gonna be away the 31st.
okay, I wonder if she's available by video. And you're not available by video that day.
No. No, I have a conflict. I
So
have
what are we
another
thinking? Well,
meeting.
I could suggest the 31st. How about other dates that week? Is there any earlier that would work? We're Valentine Forum on Monday. I suppose we could look at the 30th.
Don't forget, we're not the only board, so.
Yeah, we got to go back to the
Right.
school committee, so that gets a little sticky, yeah. The Wednesday she suggested is our regular meeting day.
As
mean-
the further out you go.
I mean,
the more-
I think it's important enough that the more of us that can be there, but if the 21st, the 24th, it's a school committee meeting, if at least 3 of us can be there, we'll have quorum,
Right.
so.
All right, so why don't how about this? I could suggest the 30th, does the 30th work for us?
Because the 17th is too early, right? Is that the issue?
I think so, because right now the due date's the 18th, and
Okay.
it's been posted that way.
Okay.
So our options are a bit limited.
Yep. Right, and the 7th is too late.
Yeah. So, all right, we could ask about the 30th. That seems to be a good date. The 31st is good for us.
Yeah, but it's not good for Lori.
You're sure of that?
I'm
How about the 30th?
I don't know about the 30th.
So
Yeah,
we could,
I have a
I
commitment
do
the
know.
30th.
oh, you do, oh, you're not available the 30th. either.
Actually,
Okay.
I think I do, because I think Lori said that after the 24th, she's away until March. But
Yeah.
Right, but she said she could be available by video, but would prefer it in person. That's why I went with the 24th, so we could,
So which ones of us can't be here the 24th?
Rob and I.
Okay.
but I may be
Would you be available
available,
by
yeah, probably. If I,
Right,
it
if
was
you're
important.
available by video, that would be 4 of us. Yeah, I'm not available.
All right,
by
shall
video.
we, well, so why don't okay, I guess I can ask about the 31st, and if it's still an issue for Lori, we can go with the 24th, is that the
Yeah,
gist?
I think
Okay,
that makes sense.
okay.
So what date are you?
So we're probably gonna end up at the 24th, but I am gonna ask her about the 31st,
Okay, she
just to
just
see.
texted me and said
Oh.
the 31st.
No
would
good.
not work.
She's watching us. Wait, she has to come online here and talk to us. All right, so I guess we'll
Probably
go with
watching
the.
via cable.
All right, we'll go with the 24th then, Lori. Did you hear that? Okay. All right. All right, so we'll go with the 24th, and that'll be our plan for now.
Hopefully we'll be the first on the agenda.
Lori, are we first on the agenda? But I would think probably 7 o'clock. And the only other thing I wanted to add about this is we do have short timelines, so,
If I may, Rob,
what's that?
our meetings start at 6.
Oh, okay. Is any
So-
issues with 6 for people? We can go, Lori, whatever, whatever works, 6 or 7, 6 to 7's great.
So we can schedule at any particular point in time if 7 only works for,
Oh, is that Paul? Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
Paul
I
said
didn't
no
realize, I
talking.
thought that was, okay, thanks, Paul. Okay, that's Paul. Paul's communicating. Okay, very good.
really bad cold, yeah.
All right, so I don't know. Yeah, whatever, 6:30 or so? Is that kind of good for people? All right. So, thank you, Paul. Yeah, that should work.
So 6:30, you want us to schedule it? for
Yeah,
6:30?
around there. I mean, I don't think it has to be exact, right? So, that'd be good. Thanks.
Okay.
Or does it have to be exact? You guys want to
Yeah,
put it down?
it's good to
Okay.
have it on your calendar.
All right, 6:30, thank you. And the only other thing I wanted to add is that, given the short timelines, people should feel free to advertise and recruit for this, right? And I would suggest, I'm not sure, I know the town's had it on the website for a while, if we should maybe put it in the town manager's newsletter, or maybe, a link maybe on the community bulletin. I don't know if it's already been on, has anyone seen it posted? We should probably try
It's on
that,
the
I would.
website.
But I meant the Ashland Community Board, Facebook, yeah.
Or on the Ashland Facebook page, right?
Yeah,
Could be
something like
posted
that.
there,
Let's-
that'd be good.
Because it is the holiday season and we have a short timeline, make sure people get the word and then we'll
I think
take
the
it from
newsletter's a
there.
great way to get the
Yeah.
word out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Both
yeah,
of them.
okay. All right, anything else on that? All right.
Just to thank Erin for her service, because
Oh, right,
Um,
sure.
I don't know how many, Paul, do you know how many years Erin was on school committee? Was it like 9?
I believe it was 8,
8?
maybe.
Okay,
She came on filling a vacancy the year before I did, and we're on the same cycle, and
okay.
we're up in I'm up on the 2025, so this is my 3rd term, so I think
Oh,
so.
great.
Okay, so yeah, just thank Erin Williams
Yeah,
for 8
yes,
years of
thank
service
you.
on the school committee. So yeah, I know it's a lot of work that you guys all do, so thank you.
Through some very difficult times.
Yes, COVID is like dog
Oh,
years.
right, sure,
And the building of a new school.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
yeah,
very,
great. All right, thank you, and thank you, Paul. Anything else you want to add, or?
No, thanks for being flexible and working with us on the 24th, so.
Great, all right, thank you. Okay,
Happy New Year, Paul.
yeah, Happy New Year.
You as well.
Okay, so the next item is discuss MBTA station reopening. So I don't know if anyone had any specific, I've been there two or three times. So, the station looks a lot like it used to look, only better. I mean, it's like well, the rust is all gone, it's painted a nice gray, the pigeons have moved back in. But it basically, it's nice, the concrete's in good shape. They're still working on the lighting. They've got construction lighting there. The parking lot's been redone and repainted.
Yeah.
It's just kind of cleaner. The rust is gone. It's, nothing's loose anymore. So,
The stairs are better, so the
Yeah.
stairs, the crumbling concrete stairs have been replaced by
Gone.
metal stairs.
Metal grids, yeah.
Very similar to what is at Framingham.
They seem to work better, yeah.
So,
They can get slippery
I'm
when
sure,
there's
yeah.
snow on them.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've talked to some folks who were like, oh, this was all the work that they did, and I'm like, well, I think of it as sort of like deferred maintenance.
It is, it's preventive, yeah, it's good. They got it so it's not gonna collapse on you,
Right.
so, which is good.
And obviously, they weren't gonna be able to do the work on the stairs with the station open, as
Right.
people have to go up and over.
Right.
So, and the fact that they were able to do it in 4 months, like they said they were going to, is a minor
Yeah.
miracle, so.
Yeah,
And they have some more work in January that they have to finish up on too, so.
Correct.
and guys, do you have any other specifics, Michael? Has anyone been in touch with you about?
No, I think they were gonna do some more work on the lighting. That was my understanding. But yeah, I mean, I took a visit, or took a drive over there, looked at it over the weekend, would concur with all of your observations. It's safer,
Yeah,
might not be that much more attractive.
all right.
Yeah,
I mean-
Driving by, it doesn't look any
that's one
different.
of those times when maybe our expectations weren't in line with what was ever intended.
Hmm.
Mine.
Well, they painted it the usual gray, which is nice, I guess, if we want to paint it a different color. Yeah.
Battleship gray.
Battleship gray.
Yeah, cloth of blue would have been nice.
Yeah, get the one side of it. As I said, I think I told you, they did talk about, the MBTA did talk to me about having some sort of ceremony, and whether that's actually going to happen, or they're waiting, or, I just haven't heard anything. So, that's about it. Anything else? Anybody want to add on that?
No.
It's good to have it back and working, so that's good.
That's the best thing.
Yeah. All right, next is MBTA zoning update, and, Joe is working, on that subcommittee, and told me they're moving along, and so I just asked him if he wanted to give us an update on how things are going with that. We, of course, met, I don't know, was it a month ago about this, and talked about things. So go ahead, Joe, you want to update us a bit?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There's not much to provide additional information other than what we presented at our last meeting. We did receive a letter from a business owner on Pleasant Street, Mr. and Mrs. Jajari, with some concerns and some ideas. Unfortunately, we as a committee have not met since that time frame, so I don't want to speculate and comment on the letter until the three of us have a sit-down with, Trish and Peter to go over some of the concerns that they brought up. So, other than that's about it, but.
And have you guys met since we met, and is that, like, I think you told me that you think you're zeroing in on a solution.
Yeah, we're about 90% at a
Okay.
location as to where we want to go with this, and we're looking at a low impact
Mhm.
percentage of housing, which makes it a lot easier, and we can use other lands in and around that area and
Right, just the things
off-site
we
lands, too,
discussed.
in Framingham, in an Ashland area.
Yeah, okay.
So
Any
we're
other
there.
questions or thoughts, since I know it's,
So the information was put in our packet just as a reminder?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
'Cause
should
I
have
was
said
like-
that. Peter,
I said,
I
this
think,
doesn't look different from
Peter
what
put
we've
that
done.
in.
Exact
That's
same thing.
exactly
I
what we
just
talked
wanted-
Okay.
about.
We put it
It's
in
just
this,
kind
so
of,
just to give you a
Yeah.
refresher that that's exactly what we have.
exactly.
And
Okay.
then we just got this letter, so we wanted to,
Yeah, and I would
go
just,
over it.
Danny's letter, I think he makes some good points. It's something we should look at closely. It's kind of what I was kind of thinking when, when I looked at those plots, those parcels right there. So, anyway, well, we'll see how it goes, but,
Well,
And so is the idea that this will be ready to go to town meeting?
That's our
For May.
attempt to do that.
Yeah.
And with that, whatever we finalize, we'll bring to the board so we can set up a forum, a public forum, so it'll be, available for the public to question it prior to town meeting.
This tells me, though, that even before the forum, it might be good, as you're thinking about what you're gonna do, to reach out to the businesses along Pleasant Street, right? Because here you have a business owner who has said, you didn't even include my lot when you were talking about the potential zoning changes on Pleasant Street and some of the discussion that we had about Pleasant Street. So I think it might be good to have a discussion with the business
Well,
owners.
that's the reason why I'm holding back comment, because that's not totally accurate, so I just wanted to.
Oh,
Okay.
interesting, okay. Has anyone
Okay.
talked to the church? I mean, what, do they care one way or the other?
The church is a separate entity. We're not going near there.
Okay. I mean, they can do whatever they want, but I'm
Right.
just wondering if they
Right.
had any feelings one way or the other.
Right.
All right, well, thanks, Joe. If
Yep,
there's
you're
nothing
welcome.
else, we'll move on to the next one. Okay, these are reminders I was asked to put in, complete and return the town census and dog license registrations, right? What's this,
So they're now available.
okay,
And then the next one is, so we'll be doing Christmas tree collection starting on Monday, January 8th, and then the next one will be, next and final will be January 15th.
And the town census gets mailed to people,
and we should
but
have
for a
it.
dog license, you need to apply for it.
Correct.
Or reapply if you already have one. Okay?
Very good, all right. Thank you for those reminders. Okay, and the next is an item that Yolanda suggested, and that she did send out something about. This is discussion of committee updates and schedule. So, we had talked before about having a regular appearance, maybe once for each of our meetings from a committee. So I think Yolanda wanted to have a discussion about how to set that up and schedule it.
Yes, so we've always, since I've been sitting here, it's always like, we appoint these boards, but we don't know necessarily what they're up to. I remember one time we created this whole elaborate thing that we were gonna, before you were on the board, Brandy, that we were gonna have them fill out, and we tried it, and they're like, this is just a lot of information. So I just think it would be good for us to think about, of the boards we appoint, and I gave Claudia a potential list. I haven't heard from Susan. There's no list that says what the select board appoints. So
Oh, really?
I plan on working with Susan so that we have that list. And if we could, on our website, put a little asterisk next to the one that we appoint so people understand that. Anyway, so the idea is that we look at the boards that we appoint and ask them one a month to come and give us an update. What are they working on? What do they need help with? Where are they with things? So the list that I gave to Claudia was, and again, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe these are ones that we do. Affordable Housing, Ashland Cultural Council, some of the members of CPC, Conservation, Council of Aging, Historical Commission, Open Space and Recreation, Roadway Traffic Safety, again, one or two of the members, not everyone, Stormwater Advisory, Sustainability, Town Forest Committee, Upper Charles Trail, and the Zoning Board of Appeals. Does that sound right, Susan? Did I miss anybody?
Yes, and what I do is every year in August, when you guys reappoint, I have the list, so I can resend you that list that you
Okay.
guys use in August when you do your reappointments.
That'd be great. So I think, offhand, I think sustainability is one that we've talked about because of some of the net zero stuff that they're working
Yeah.
on. And they did come present to us last spring,
Before
before
town
spring
Yeah, the other
town
thing-
meeting.
Yeah.
The one thing to keep in mind with them, they are, I think, proposing that tree bylaw, and they're working with the planning board for the May town meeting. So,
Right.
might be, we'll probably, I would think,
Be a
see them
part of that.
anyway before
Right.
town meeting, so,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and I know that tree bylaw is causing some ruckus
Yeah,
amongst
sure,
people.
sure.
But I think about the Historical Commission. They have some stuff that they're working on. We appointed them 3 years ago now, 4 years ago. It was during COVID.
I think it was 3.
Yeah, we
So it was
had,
the
I think
first,
about-
so 2020,
Yeah.
maybe the first year of COVID. Roadway Traffic Safety Committee, again, I know we have Joe as an appointee.
Yeah, no, it's a good
And we
one.
get some updates, but it would be great to hear.
Yeah, yeah.
There's some issues that have been going on.
Sure.
What are they working on? So, and I would say, we'll get the list, the official list from Susan, and rank them 1 through however many there are, and
Yeah.
whatever one gets the first one.
In terms of
In
timeliness.
sort of
Oh,
time.
okay, because I was gonna say, like, I have like my priorities of like
Right.
what I would, you know.
Well, that's what I'm
because-
saying. So when we get the list from Susan, the official one,
Yeah.
then if everyone can say, okay, I want, in order, these are the ones that I want to see, and get those to me, and I'll compile it, and,
Yeah.
you know, if there's one that pops up, that'll be the first one we do.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'll, based on
So how
what
do we
people have
handle,
said.
so is it 1 per meeting that we're talking about? What do you-
Either
what do we
1
think?
per meeting or 1 per month. I think if
It
we
might
have,
depend on, which group
Right.
it is. Some
Yeah.
might be a little bit longer and need a
Right.
little more time,
right,
and others might be able to do a couple.
right.
Yeah.
Right, but I would think we do want to do at least one a meeting, right?
I think it's gonna depend on the meeting and what else we have on the agenda, and,
Well,
Okay,
that might be a time to do one that might be less time.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
right.
Well, the other things, some are going to be on a schedule, like sustainability is a good example. Do we
Right.
really want to have them in for a general meeting if we're going to then meet with them at some point soon to talk about the
Well,
tree
no, I
bylaw?
think that would be their time in, right? If they're coming
Yeah,
in to talk
right.
about the tree law, bylaw,
right.
we would also then ask them to give us an update on what else have you been working
Yeah.
on, so.
And I know we only appoint like part of CPC, but
Correct.
I think
Haven't
like,
seen them for
we've been
years.
talking about like having them come in front of us
Right,
too, because
CPC.
just to kind of do a much more overview of what.
Right, for people who might
Yeah.
not understand, what is
great.
CPC and
Yeah.
what can we do with that and what does that really mean? I mean, for all of these,
Yeah.
I think it's to help the public understand what these committees are doing and how they're impacting or working toward the betterment of the town.
And also for us to get feedback from them and for us
Right?
to give
Is
them
there something
feedback.
that we
Yeah.
can help them with?
Like,
Yeah.
what have you
think it's
guys
a
been
great
up
idea.
to? What are you doing?
Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea
Yeah.
to start that up
So-
again.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
So, all right, we have a plan here. You'll
Yep,
come back with a
yep.
list that we'll rank.
We'll get
Thank
the
you.
list from Susan. That'll go out to everybody. Everyone will rank them, get them back to me, and then I will reach out to
Great.
whoever is first and then
Yeah, thanks for doing that,
add them
Yolanda.
to our,
Lovely.
ideally,
Ours-
hopefully, we can have someone at the first meeting in January. I
Yeah.
mean, a second meeting in January.
Yeah, okay. All right, so the next one is the open meeting law complaint result, which we received in our packet, a kind of the letter from the AG's office, and I don't know, Michael, did you want to just do a presentation on that?
Yeah, I mean, I can, just as an overview, we did receive correspondence from the AG that they had, after reviewing some of the materials that had been provided, they did find that the board had violated the open meeting law by failing to timely approve 5 sets of minutes. The complaint referenced 7 sets of minutes. They thought 2 had been done in a timely manner, and 5 had not been. They did determine that this was an intentional violation, only in the sense that they had talked to us about this before, and so it was a repeat violation. They did acknowledge the fact that what we were trying to do is we were trying to, reconcile some older meeting minutes that we were trying to clean up, and so therefore they did not issue a civil complaint. So part of their direction was that the board would need to go to a webinar on open meeting law training. And I do have some dates here that I can pass out to you after the meeting, and
Okay.
so I don't think the board has to take it all, like, as a board, you have to take it all together.
Is this a live webinar, or is it a taped one that you just kind of tune in on? Or
I'm assuming it's live, Rob,
Okay.
because they provided 4 dates.
who's they, the AG?
The
or-
AG's office.
Oh, my God.
Through Cindy, through the AG's office.
All right, yeah.
So, anyway, there's that.
I just find it interesting that they're saying it's intentional when
It's not intended.
it wasn't intentional. We didn't purposely forget. We didn't. But I do know that through the years, we've had sometimes difficulty getting our meeting minutes done and updated and approved. So I think now we're on a better schedule. We're getting them done on a timely basis, and I think that our goal has to be to maintain that schedule.
Yeah. And the issue always tends to be like these joint meetings that we have that kind of fall
Right.
through the cracks a little bit, and that we,
Right.
it's like trying to figure out like, where the meeting is and getting the
Yeah.
minutes together. And, I know this was something that we kind of looked at like before Rob took over as chair,
Yeah.
because I wanted to like.
You had really were.
Yeah, I
working
was
it,
trying to
so-
clean all these up, so, I mean, I get that, via the Attorney General, that's, but my personal perspective is I would rather have the the minutes completed and out there than have that not happen. So
definitely.
to me, like that I will absolutely fall on the sword for that anytime. And I also would also, you know, I know Mr. Morgan had put together this open meeting law complaint, and I would always, you know, I know he said something about, you know, interested in like what the solution is, and I would always encourage him. If he wants to help out, I'm sure we would be able to help, you know, put him to
Well,
work.
And remind us, right? Because
Yeah.
sometimes we get busy with things, and if he's seeing that there's minutes that aren't there, reach out to us and say, hey, these minutes aren't there.
He can always
you
come
put
to
them up
our
there?
meetings and take our minutes for us, and that would
be
help
more
out that.
constructive. I don't think anybody should be expected to remind us that our minutes aren't there. I think, you know, that's something we can certainly.
But he does seem to have some
Yeah,
time,
I
so.
know he does do
yeah.
that. I mean, I think, I like the idea of having it come.
I would love for him to
That's
do
a
our
really
minutes.
good
In fact,
idea.
if the board wants, we can always extend that invitation to him, and,
Don't think
and,
that's a good idea.
so, but I'm just saying, it's always good to be constructive rather
Right,
than,
yeah. That's true.
Absolutely.
Yep. I would be surprised if he would ever take us up on
Okay,
it,
so you have dates for us that we need to go and sit, okay,
All right.
thank you.
All right, and we'll make sure we're continuing to get our minutes done on time. Okay. The next item is that correspondence from the review of the grant from the Executive Office of Economic Development. And Michael, you have some follow-up or resolution on that?
Yeah, so, let's see, where did okay. Yeah, so everybody recalls the correspondence that we got from Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities. And at that time, when we reviewed it, I said that I would provide you a draft letter that Rob actually needs to send on behalf of the board. So Beth and I worked on this to put this together, and Beth has done a lot of, taken a lot of her time and reached out to these 15 businesses, these individual businesses, and you know, some she was able to get some information from. Others she found out had gone out of business. So, you know, unfortunately, the goals for that program were not achieved. I wouldn't say just because of that program. But anyway, if you've had a chance to review it and you feel comfortable with it, I can put it on letterhead and have the chair sign it.
Yes, it seems fine.
No, it was good. I'm curious, like, was there any sanctions or anything against MGCC? Because they were working on our behalf on a lot of this.
Yeah, we did, so we did have, well, there are several meetings and conversations with MGCC since we got this correspondence. It sounds like they received very, very similar, similar correspondence, had similar issues, but specifically, I don't know if you recall, in their letter, the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, they said you could not work with MGCC again until they, meaning the Executive Office, was satisfied
Yeah.
that they would be able to keep.
So they sanctioned
Those things.
themselves. They were sanctioned by them, not by.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So there's that one.
Okay. All right, thanks, and we'll follow up on that one. Okay, and the consent agenda, boy, I think this is the first time we have not done the consent agenda when we got to it, so, you know, every year.
We
So,
usually put it up.
anybody want to pull anything from the consent agenda or make any remarks about anything on it?
So I've given the edits to Susan, but I gave it to her really, really late on
Okay.
the meeting minutes, so I'd like to pull out the regular session minutes from December 6th,
Okay,
2023.
we'll pull that out. And
letter
the only other, I just wanted, you know, happy to have, it's great to have Curtis Hoffman on the Historical Commission, and of course, we talked about Aaron's resignation earlier. And anybody want to pull a parade permit for the Boston Marathon? That's on this list, so people should be aware that this is our approval of the Boston Marathon running through Ashland. And there's another big grant, the police department, is that the one, that's the jail
That's the
diversion?
jail diversion
100,000,
program,
so
yeah.
that's great. All right, so we're pulling out A,
Yep,
so.
I move that we approve the consent agenda minus item A, regular session minutes for December 6th.
Motion's been made and second to accept consent agenda except for item A. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. Consent agenda's passed. Okay, item A on the consent agenda, regular session minutes from December 6, 2023.
So I just have two really small edits. Under the scheduled appearances where we talk about the public hearing for the Warren Conference Center, in the paragraph at the bottom where it talks about Kim, on behalf of the Warren Conference Center, noted that they are a group-driven property. I added group event-driven property, because I think it kind of
Yeah, yeah.
clarified.
Group-driven, yes,
Yeah,
very
so
good.
that, just added event to that. And then under the consent agenda, number 5, where we talk about B, where we're looking at the Town Forest Committee to reduce the committee size from 7 members to 5 voting members and 1 or more associate members. There's the first sentence that says, Ms. Kinsman inquired as to how many members of the Town Forest Committee there are currently. I asked how many associate members there are currently, because
Okay,
we knew how many members of
Right.
the committee, so.
Add
So just adding
associate.
associate members to that. So that's 2 really small edits.
Oh, and those
but-
changes were made. The meetings that are in our packet
Oh.
have those changes,
Okay.
okay.
right?
Su-
Because I'm
Susan,
looking
you got
at,
to them? Okay.
Did she print?
I'm
she-
looking at the minutes that are in our packet, and it says.
Final agenda.
Oh, okay.
da-da-da-da, yeah, final agenda.
Okay,
Where
I
is
didn't
it?
see that.
Is
I'm
that-
sure
is-
Susan probably sent out another version.
Is
Yeah,
that true,
so Ms.
Susan? We're all set?
Kinsman noted the Warren Conference Center is event-driven and well-controlled.
Okay,
All right.
gotcha. Okay.
So I move that we approve the regular session minutes from December 6th as in our packet. Yeah.
And we have a second? All those in favor of accepting the regular session minutes in the packet, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. So the minutes are accepted. Thank you. Okay, that gets us to town manager report, and the first item is the FY '25 budget update. So go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, so, first off, I just want to let everybody know the department head budgets are in, and so we'll be taking that information and plugging that all in, and then we will schedule very, very soon a date for the department heads to talk about their budgets with the select board and the finance committee. We'll probably look at a Friday like we did last year, if that works for everybody. We're already starting a little bit behind the 8 ball just because the GIC came out with their preliminary rates, and they are predicting an overall 9.5%
Wow.
increase, whereas we were carrying around a 6% increase. So,
Jesus. I mean,
it all depends, what our true increase ends up being depends on who enrolls in what plan. So that's something that we have to keep our eye on. So that's good. If you don't mind, I'll just kind of skip
Sure,
around
sure,
and
go
I'll
ahead.
stay
Yep.
with budgetary themes. So opioid settlement receipts. So it was pretty ironic, as you remember or may recall. At the special town meeting, we had to appropriate those out of free cash because DOR had not issued regulations regarding the treatment of these funds. I think probably a week after we did that, DOR came out with
course.
regulations and said that we can now treat those as special revenue funds. So just wanted to give you an update
okay.
on that.
and remind me just, how much is it and what are we doing? What did we
Oh,
decide?
gosh. Jen, you
Is this an
said-
annual thing or is it one time?
Yeah, it's annual for a few years. I want to say it's 7. This tranche is 70K. 65, 70K.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
and
it's a little bit.
our human services team will be using that as to help with their efforts.
In line with, yeah, okay.
Mike, can you ask a quick question? I wasn't sure, I probably didn't hear it right, but the GIC health costs, they're in negotiations, or is that's a fixed cost right now at 9.5?
They must.
So what they do, so first they kind of look at the information, they'll put together a preliminary rate increase, like a comprehensive basically numbered that
July
encompasses all the
1st, the
plans.
July 1st increase.
Yeah, and so that's 9%. So what they do at that point is they go and they look at the plan designs for each of the offerings and look if there's any changes that need to be made there. And some of those changes may result in a lower increase in the premium costs.
Okay.
Depending on, they might go with a higher deductible, or they might, increase co-pays, and therefore they wouldn't have to raise the premiums as much. So that's the next step. They probably won't have everything finalized until March or April.
Okay,
So,
all right. So it's still in the timeframe where you're working on your
Mhm.
budget, you'll have those figures available at some point, okay.
yeah, I mean, we will probably carry, until we hear otherwise, the 9% figure.
9%, okay.
So there's that. And just moving on to the next one that deals with money. This is a little bit more good news as opposed to a GIC increase.
Yeah.
But the town and Paul Carpenter specifically were awarded $150,000 as part of the Community Compact IT grant to help us establish and start a new permitting system, a new holistic permitting system that is going to basically encompass all of our permitting and connect everything together.
Wow.
We'll also be able to pay online, which is a big deal too. So congrats to Paul and his team, and we've started a working group, to figure out how to, best implement that. It'll probably take a little while, but yes, this grant should cover it.
So there'll be a training
Great.
program for the employees that are affected again, right? Yeah. Cool.
And will this 150 give us the funds to create it, set it up, and get software, or what is this 150 going to cover for us?
It will cover the setup, the establishment, the setup,
Mm-hmm.
and then also the first year. I don't know if we're going to be able to do 2 years. Off of it.
I think also help us import our data.
Oh,
Yes,
nice.
Okay. Yeah,
Cool.
as part
Okay.
of the setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
Very nice. I love that, the Community Compact program, we were the 10th community initially.
Yeah, Yolanda, I think you're
To-
the one who.
Oh.
I
pushed
helped
that,
push,
yeah.
because I remember I
remember
had
that, yeah.
gone to a meeting and the Baker administration had pushed this out there. And it's nice to see that it's still being continued as a way for communities to get additional funding by being, creating initiatives and for issues that they really have. So it's nice to see that it's
Yeah.
still working
And we'll have to see. I mean, we've taken advantage of this grant
quite a few times.
quite a few times. We'll have to get that.
It'd be good to
exact
see how
figure.
much. Yep.
Yeah.
Great.
So that, I'll move up to item J, which is citizen education and awareness initiatives. First, I'll start with the Citizens Academy. We talked about that. Actually, we talked in our retreat in June about, or July, about ways to not just explain what the decisions are, but how why the decisions are made the way they are, and really educate the public on some of the more inner workings of town government. And so the Citizens Academy is a way to do that. I'll let Jen kind of get into a little bit more of the programs, but the programming aspect of it. But we had a good response. We had about 30 people express interest in applying, or in being a part of it. We did select 15. The people that we didn't select they had either been a part of a board or committee before, or they had not gotten their application in on time, and then the others were selected randomly. But so we've got a good class, a good diverse class.
Nice.
It's pretty interesting, and the program is it's pretty great. It's 8 weeks. Jen, do you want to talk a little bit about it, because you've been working on the programming aspect?
So 8 weeks, we did some polling just to sort of see, what kind of time commitment residents could really commit to. And so what we're doing is basically on our off schedule. So every other week we'll be meeting from January until May. And so we'll really wrap up our program piece right before Maytown meeting, which actually I think will work out nicely in terms of hopefully, people who may not have been engaged in the process will attend town meeting and sort of go in a little bit more educated than they may have been previously. And so the way we sort of split it is try to like group departments. So we'll initially start with an overview, and then we'll move into budgeting finance, and then hopefully we'll have folks that are participating also watch the FinCom meetings where we're talking about budgets so that they get a better understanding, and they'll get a better understanding before they actually meet many of the department heads. And then we'll go into public safety and public works, land use and economic development, health and sustainability will be another one, human services and programs, and then ending with town meeting, clerk's office, and sort of IT and how that's incorporated into all the various departments. Also sort of reached out to the schools, and that would have been a nice segue to see if that works for them in terms of like IT is one of our departments, our only department that works across
The two together, yeah.
so sort of bridging that. And then we'll have a wrap up, and hopefully we can have the class here for like a
Nice.
wrap up presentation.
Well, that'd be
In this-
cool.
In this room, or?
Well, like come
With
to
the
one of our
classes,
meetings.
we're gonna actually be
Yeah.
changing
Nice.
locations, so, as part of the public safety, it'll
Yep.
be,
Over
they'll be
there.
getting a tour. I'm kind of hoping that DPW does sort of like touch a truck for adults, so that it's like interesting
Yeah,
to sort
yeah.
of see some of the equipment when we're, like talking about capital improvements and, needs that we have. They'll be able to sort of have an opportunity to actually see some of it. We'll have it at the library and the community center again, so that people can see,
Nice.
recreation, the food pantry, if you haven't been over there, just to sort of see our other facilities.
Great.
Yeah. Very cool.
Very good.
Did any of the high school students sign up for it?
No, so we did, that was a requirement was that 18 and older.
18 and over,
Mhm.
okay.
And so, and then again, it's gonna be in the evening, so from 6 to 8, just for working
Okay.
people.
Is that in physical somewhere?
Fit in the
Yeah.
whole class, yeah, so that was, we wanted to make sure that we could do it in person, cause much of it will be sort of, like, hopefully we'll be touring places, and
Yep.
we may not be sitting doing presentations, so you couldn't really do virtual. And then also, because we had a bigger than expected sort of response rate, we made sure that people could
Nice.
actually attend, almost all of the
Yes, that's,
I was just thinking if it was,
that's a
if
big
you had
commitment, yeah.
teens, I'm not talking younger teens, maybe seniors or maybe first-year freshmen in a college that may be interested in, going into the municipal,
Municipal
vector.
government, yeah.
Yeah, that
Wow.
may be a step, a learning curve for them to learn, what's going on, maybe spark an interest type of deal. So,
That's cute.
maybe next academy.
Maybe. And then next, we're starting a podcast to talk a little bit about, just Ashland and Ashland town government. We were looking at recording the first one yesterday, but one of our guests was not going to be able to make it just because he's taking care of some people. So hopefully we'll reschedule that soon.
Nice.
And but yeah, looking forward to that. And then my final item, I don't have it here on the agenda, but if you recall, Mill Pond Rest Home, they
Mhm.
had they had talked about closing down. I had received correspondence that they're actually in the process of selling the business, and another, essentially nursing home facility business is going to
Interesting.
buy it and continue that service. So
Okay.
that's
What do
good
we,
news.
yeah, so that's, I guess, we like the idea that they're gonna be able to continue operating, I presume.
course.
Yeah, so, cause it's such a shortage. What kind of, level of care do they provide?
I believe it's nursing home,
Yeah.
Skilled nursing, yeah,
skilled nursing
oh.
facility, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, interesting, okay. Anything else, Michael, that,
No, that's it.
all right, so that, I think, brings us to board reports. And I guess we'll just start our usual way, Claudia, from the end. You go ahead and,
Well, I don't have too much to report on.
That's all right, yeah.
December, as a lot of us
Sure.
have. But actually, I was away for the big weekend events. And, but I would like to just comment about how wonderful downtown looks.
mhm,
And, even.
I've heard that, yeah.
Yeah, I even had a younger member of our community who mentioned it to me, and, so it really has, the lights, the lamp posts, just everything was at the town hall. I know the police station, public safety station was a separate, venture, but it really looked very, very, just gave you a nice New England, feel, and,
Yeah.
so I just wanted to say thank you to Beth Reynolds. I know that she was, you know, really a driver of that, and like I told her, I made a point sometimes going through downtown when I didn't really need to, so I could enjoy it. So thank you.
Looks very nice.
Thomas Kincaid, Christmas card. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, definitely beautiful. I also don't have very much to report, so I pretty much spent the last week and a half with my family, so
Sure.
as I'm sure hopefully everyone else enjoyed some time, the holidays with their families and friends as well. The only thing I have to report is that right before the holidays, on the 21st of December, we did meet with the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee. And it was a relatively short meeting. We met at the high school library. We're trying out a couple different, we tried out a new venue to see if that would work. And we actually had really good turnout, which we had like almost I think there was only a few people that didn't make it to our steering committee, which
It's a surprise.
it was great, yeah. So, we met in groups and just talked about, different areas of we broke into groups that had some interest or expertise from all of us on the committee, and whether it was economic development or I did housing and demographics, and Yolanda was part of the
Economic development discussion.
So we had some good discussions, and that goes back to J.M. Goldson, our consultant, who will compile it with some of the other interviews that have been happening or had happened with department heads and others within town. So, but we're moving along, and Goldson was thrilled with the turnout of our community visioning forum. I think the statement was that they've never seen anything quite like that for
Oh,
our
that's
first
great.
forum. So, thank you to the community that came out and supported that.
Basement
and-
of Town Hall. they
Yeah,
were saying.
it was,
That's great.
I think we need to.
No,
I think we
the
need to have
Yeah.
all of our forums be part of a bigger community event.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I think that's a good idea, because people were already out and about. They didn't have to go out a special night,
Yeah, it was
Right.
easy.
and it was easy.
Yeah, and people felt like they were
festive.
connected, and I
Yeah.
think that was
So if you
great.
could do that, yeah.
So, so we're moving along on the comprehensive plan, and our next meeting, we're going to be talking about a lot more community engagement opportunities. And so for anyone that is looking to get involved in giving some feedback to us on the steering committee, stay tuned, because there'll be a lot more coming up. in
What's the
next
date on that, your next?
Our next meeting.
January 18th, the third
Thank you.
Thursday of the month.
Yep.
Third Thursday.
Just to the point about having those sorts of forums when there maybe is something else going on in the town, will they have a table or something set up for when the night for the Valentine estate forum?
I don't know if we'll be ready yet at that point,
Yeah, and I'm not sure we will be.
but that's a good idea
I was
to
gonna
have
ask-
like stuff
We did,
that's,
did
that
we,
combines.
we did
Right.
schedule it, right, or,
The 29th.
yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
what are
Yep.
we thinking
So,
about?
yep.
So, well, since you brought it up, do we need to publicize or do any other work,
We
or
need to
what?
do a little more public
Yeah,
publicity.
Okay, and that's all for me, so,
Yeah.
yeah, thanks.
yeah, thanks. Go ahead, Joe.
Joe?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First and foremost, Happy New Year to everybody out there. May it be safe, prosperous, and most of all, healthy for everybody. Just want to remind everybody, we are having a roadway traffic study committee next, well, it's Tuesday. We're looking at probably the 28th. I don't have it written down probably, but I know it's the last Tuesday in January, from 10 to 11:30, and that's at the substation at Market Basket. So we'll be following up on some questions and concerns that several residents have asked for an update. So we'll be presenting that. So if you have any concerns or anything, you can email me if you have a question or concern about to be addressed regarding roadway safety or the traffic issue, and I will be happy to look into it and get back to you in a timely fashion.
Joe, before,
Sure.
can I just ask a general question about, so I've heard, and maybe Michael or Jen know about this, so Massachusetts has recently adopted the ability to have traffic cameras issue fines, is that right? Is that what, are to have,
They're in discussion with that.
Yeah.
Because there's a liability issue that they're questioning right now with respect to that. So, and there's no definitive answer. So we did look into that,
Yeah.
and actually, this was before Eddie Berman took the position, temporary position in Wayland. And he said it probably won't pass because there's so much
really? Because
things that need to get done.
I know, like, New York City uses it, and the reason I know it firsthand is I keep getting speeding tickets from 400 miles away, because certain relatives are down there with my car, but anyway, so.
So you know it works.
It does work, I have to pay. And it's not even a human, there's a camera that said I was speeding down the BQE at,
Yeah.
you know, in a school zone, whatever.
Well, the other thing,
But
no,
I have to
it
pay
is-
$50, but it's effective. I know,
Yeah,
I
stop
know.
doing
What
it.
is my problem? But, you know,
Take the
that gets
lead
to our,
shoes off.
we don't, like, Myrtle Street is an example. We can't have somebody there all the time, but if you had a traffic camera there and,
Yep.
you know, so anyway, just a
No,
thought.
that's okay. We're also looking at the potential use of drones.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Joe, something that somebody brought up to me recently was, traffic lights, you know, that, I can't remember the terminology, but they basically turn green for, automatically for, police and fire.
Yes. For non-standing, yes,
Yeah.
non-standing vehicles.
I know there's some towns that have that, I think Sudbury's one of them,
Yeah, they're pretty expensive.
yeah.
And the mechanism of the design that has to be followed is, well, it's elaborate. And you need the proper equipment, so, I know Eddie
That's
was thinking about doing that, and I don't know if Chief Rossi wants to follow through on that, but, you know, we'll ask.
Yeah, it might
We
be
can always
something
ask.
to look into, especially as we change and add streetlights, you know,
Right.
to give them,
Oh, yeah.
you know.
Sounds like a candidate for the top priority committee to see.
Top priority committee, well, we'd be ready to be the first ones
Yeah,
to come in
that's
front of you. We'd be happy to do it. I just had one question, but that was already answered. So the forum is going to be the 29th on the Valentine property, which
Yep.
still looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Is that 7 PM?
I don't have a date on that, a time.
6:30 for some,
6:30?
but I don't know where I'm.
Okay,
where that
all right.
is.
'Cause thank you.
I actually have 6 on my calendar, but
6?
that's okay.
Okay.
If it's 6:30, that's fine
6:30
too.
here, or no, what do we do? Well, no.
6:30 on January 29th, 2025, 24.
But where?
But where?
We haven't got the location.
Okay, to be determined.
Okay.
Okay. All right, now that answers that. And lastly, I just want to thank the folks out there who emailed and texted Donna on her successful surgery.
That's nice.
And she's back to normal. She's been ordering me around ever since she got home. So she's doing well. So
Lots
she'll
of
be,
ice.
oh, I just bought more bags of ice.
Talk to me after the meeting. I
Okay,
got something for you.
I will. A nice machine. That would work great. But other than that, thank you very much and Happy New Year to my
Yeah, thank you.
colleagues
Thank
here on
you.
the board. Thank you.
Also, Happy New Year. Tomorrow is the Lions Senior Breakfast, they start serving at 9 a.m. Steve's not here to do it, so now I get to do it. Starting at 9 a.m. Apparently, it's going to be a simple breakfast, but it's fun to go.
Is that because you're doing it?
Yeah, we won't go there. We will not go there.
Oh, that's funny.
There's a story there, but don't worry about it. Anyway, so the other thing is MMA is coming up on the 19th and 20th. I am registered to go. I also interviewed for and got reappointed to the WeMo board, and I'm going to be vice chair this year. And I just got an email today that they're asking me for the WeMo luncheon to do the interview of their keynote. So it's not going to be a straight keynote. It's going to be a sort of fireside chat. And I've been asked to do that, so I'm looking forward to that. And then on the 25th is our Metro West Regional Collaborative board meeting at 8 a.m.
Great.
And that's all I got.
Great, thank you. Yeah, just to follow up on, so the MMA conference, are other people thinking about going to it? It's an in-person, and we do need to let Susan know, I think, soon, right, if we're interested?
Yeah, you need to
Susan?
register. But
Yeah, sooner, but Yolanda's going as
I'm
it
going.
stands now.
Yep.
And, you know, it's a nice event, especially for somebody who's new and, you know, I don't know, if you have time to go to it, so.
If not, I will make sure on our first meeting in February to give updates and let you know
Yeah, good.
what sessions were good. And I know some of them, they sometimes record, so.
Yeah, and was it last year, or the year before, it was all remote, and boy, was that convenient and good. That was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, you just miss the networking
Yeah.
aspect of it.
Yeah, well, anyway, something to think about.
Yep.
The only other thing I had was, a couple weeks ago, I sat in on the Joint Planning Board and Sustainability Committee discussion on the tree bylaw, which is under development by sustainability. It has been, and most of us have seen a draft. So my impression, or my understanding that came away from that meeting, they didn't spend a lot of time in the details, but agreed that it was important to have a forum to get ideas or issues or concerns about the tree bylaw. And at that time, they scheduled it for January 11th, next Thursday. I'm not sure if that's still, that was their thinking at the time. I haven't looked at the schedule lately or heard
I
anything.
believe it was gonna start at 6 before their regular board meeting.
Is that, yeah, okay.
That was my
sounds right.
understanding.
And whether it's, so I just don't know if I haven't, you know, heard anything since that meeting, but, you know, it sounded like a good thing to do, so just, you know, getting the word out for that. Especially if there's business owners or developers, because I think that's who they wanted to talk to. And the only, I understand we have some snow maybe forecast this week?
Yeah,
And do we need to, is it potentially substantial? And we're ready to go, I presume, as usual.
Ready to go.
Okay.
Doug loves snow, don't let him tell you otherwise.
So anyway, okay.
He's a snow eater.
And that's all I had, so I guess I will entertain a motion to adjourn if
So
there's nothing
moved.
further.
Second.
All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
See
Thank
you
you
all in 2
all.
weeks.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
All right.